So what we've seen today is France captain, or former France captain, Wendie Renard talk about the conditions in the France squad and why she has had to step back for her own mental health. Now, she left it relatively vague. You could sort of assume she's talking about one thing or another thing, but what we've seen for a long time in the French national team is Kadidiatou, since she came in as coach, butting heads, specifically with the Lyon players. We've had a lot over the years, from sort of the likes of Marie-Antoinette, Wendie. We had some players who voluntarily stepped back, like Wendie, who went on to say France would never win the Euros with Diacre as coach, to players like Henri and Le Sommer, who were just left in the cold. And we've had many reports over the years. Henri was talking, I think when she spoke about the 2019 World Cup, how she was crying in her room. She saw other players crying. At the time, there was a lot of onus on her as a key player in that group, a captain to speak out. But what we also have is recriminations, and we have sort of punishment doled out by Diacre when players have spoken out that she hasn't called them up, which then leads coaches, players, pundits to say, that's strange, these players are in great form, why haven't they been called up? So there's a lot of assumption going on. But with the news today from Renard, and this is a player who's initially had her captaincy stripped when Diacre came in, I think what we're seeing is more of a time of reckoning for the FFF, because we know that results haven't been all they could have been under Diacre. That is a long-standing problem in French women's football. This is a team that, if you go back to sort of 2011, when they sort of broke onto into the national team, when they broke on to that international stage, and everyone thought, wow, this team's going to win something. It's going to win something very, very soon. And they still haven't, and it's 2023 now. And we've seen many of those players from that core group that broke through in 2011 have since retired. And, the question is when will this team step up? And it's gone through different managerial changes. We've had different ideas of why things don't come together for them. But as we've seen since Diacre came in for 2019, the team again is failing to live up to expectations. And in the last half an hour, we've had Marie-Antoinette, Katoto and Kadidiatou, Diani, both sort of put out similar statements saying that they have to step back, that until something changes in the management of the team, in the management involved around them, they can't play. They will not represent France. So this is a huge time for France. It's not just that we're heading into a World Cup, but one of the biggest players people in Diacre's corner has been Noël Le Gray, the FFF, and he himself is facing being ousted for a number of reasons, and we've seen Canada standing up talking about sort of what's going on in their federation. We've got an ongoing saga with Spain as well. So this isn't just something that's going on in France. This isn't just specific to France, but what we're having is something very, very seismic here within the France squad. Not just Renard, who, okay, she's 32, she's a centre back. Maybe she didn't have that long left in terms of her international career, but Katoto, Diani, these are young, exciting attackers who do have a long time left. And whereas we've previously seen Diacre fall out with some more of the players from Lyon, these are two PSG players who, at times have backed her, but something clearly is happening, and players won't be silent anymore. So we'll have to, this is a developing situation today. We'll have to see just quite what happens, in France with the women's national team as well, with Le Gray, and just what is going on with the FFF, because we know, we've got reports of historical sort of abuse throughout the levels that have been ignored, been hushed up. We've got, teams failing to perform. There's a lot going on within this federation right now, and it's, and I think what's going on with the women's team is a part of it. But there's so much happening, so many potentially sort of moving pieces. It's a massive day for women's football in France, but not necessarily. Hopefully it will end up being a good day and a very important point that they've reached this crossroads. But at the moment, things right now today do not look overly optimistic.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.